Oh, this is exciting. I'm on YouTube. Well, hopefully, as long as I've remembered to record everything right and the sound doesn't crash, in which case I'll just be here, sitting in my room on my own, talking to myself. That's okay, because I'm a professional, so I can guarantee 100% this is the first take. So welcome to my channel. It's going to be based around the game Total War Warhammer 2, which is an RTS game, which means real-time strategy. So I'll be there taking control of large armies, trying to forge empires with fire and blood, and all that nice good stuff. So if you guys are into any fantasy settings, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, or strategy games in general, this is probably right up your street. Now I'm quite new to the game. There's a lot of experienced YouTubers out there like Turin or Lawmaster Sotek have an in-depth knowledge of the game or a high-level tournament play, and I'll link their channels below. But I'm quite new, so hopefully you guys can yell at my mistakes, help me out, and see how my journey goes getting into the game. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Enjoy this opening. I'll see you on the battlefield. So that right there, guys, was actually the trailer for the game. I was super hyped when it came out because when I was a kid, I used to play the blue guys there, which are the lizards, the lizards riding dinosaurs. I used to play them on tabletop, and so it's really exciting to kind of bring my childhood to life right there. Now today, guys, I'm going to show you some multiplayer. So there's two ways of playing this game. There's campaign, where you forge an empire, build units, manage cities, and there's kind of a story to go along with it. I'll probably get into some of that in later episodes, but for now I just hopped in the multiplayer scene. Now, the multiplayer scene is pretty interesting. It has quite a small community, so there's a steep learning curve, and I'm hoping to bring more new players in by seeing me come into the game and hopefully help teach people and see my mistakes and learn. We'll get a few of you guys in here as well. So I've got a replay to show you to start with. We'll just load that up right here. There we go. So I've already recorded this once before, and it felt a little bit like a tutorial, but after contemplating about it a little bit, I realised most people who kind of view these videos probably already know the game. So if there are any new players in here, my best recommendation for you guys is to watch a few videos and you'll pick stuff up as it comes along. I will be dropping little snippets of advice and how the game works, but I'm not going to go too in depth. If you guys do want me to drop anything like that, just send me a message and I'm more than happy to have a tutorial video. So today, guys, I'm going to be using the Skaven. Now, the best way to describe Skaven is think Pinky in the Brain crossed with Rocket Raccoon. They're rats, they have very poor leadership, they're not overly strong, but what they lack in those different elements, they make up for in their wacky inventions. And I have a few of their wacky inventions in my army today. One of them, right here, is called the Zap Zap Cannon. Now, this is a warp lightning cannon, but a special variety of them. You can only have one in your army. Now, this is an artillery piece, good at doing huge amounts of burst damage, and I've placed it on this hill now for a nice view of that big scary army over there, which we'll get to a bit later. I've got a few other little tools for long range firepower. I've got some of these Warplock Giselles. So they're sniper rifles. They're a little duo. Unfortunately for the guy in front, he's just there to hold up a shield, occasionally get kicked by the guy in the back if he's not holding it up properly. These guys are super long range, great at taking out big targets and leaders. Now I have a special version of them over here called Natty Bobo's Sharpshooters. I have no idea if I've said that right, but it sounds the coolest. Now, the difference between these guys and the normal ones is they have an ability called stoic. So they're invisible until the enemy gets super close. Now, this is really nice because no one can return fire on them. They can fire with impunity. Another invention I have in my army today is the Rattling Gunners. These guys have miniguns. Think the dude from Predator with the big minigun who just blitzes into the forest. They're super inaccurate, but if the enemy get close, they slow them down and do a ton of damage. So I've got them near the front there. Now, these are all very expensive units. They're small, they're squishy, they're run away if anything gets too close. So I need to protect them. The way I'm doing that is with these guys. They're Skaven slaves. They've literally been born to die. Okay, they're terrible, and I'm just basically going to chuck them at the enemy, try and pin them between these two rocks here, and just slow them down with wave after wave. Now I've got some in reserve to pop forward wherever someone breaks. Now to protect all these big guns, they're normally a big target for things like cavalry or skirmishers. I've got some of these horrible creations called Rattling. Huge beastly mutations, bits of warp stone and spikes sticking out of them. They're hungry, angry, and as you can see this guy flexing, they're absolute beasts. So I've hidden a couple in the forest so my enemy can't see them, and spread another couple through my army. They're going to be quite good, but we'll get to them later. Now leading my ravenous hordes of vermin scum is Claw. He's a mad genius. I believe he's actually got a pretty much metal body because he burnt himself so bad in an experiment he had to fuse it together. Now he's riding a Doomflare here, which is a little Sons of Anarchy style bike. He's me rolling through the enemy, cackling, dropping spells such as lightning on the enemy, and we get to that as the battle progresses, but he's a very cool dude, big fan. Now I've got two assassins to accompany him. These are in case any big powerful lords come after him. He's a pretty good duelist, but if they have someone like Krokgar, who's designed for fighting one-on-one and killing people, these guys will be able to pop in, slay his enemies and protect him a little bit. So that's my army, guys. The basic idea: chaff them up with random slaves, block them up, use the rat ogres to kill any cavalry, and use the big guns to do the heavy lifting. These guys are the backpacks, and these guys are doing the carrying. Now my enemy, he is the Lizardmen. Think of them as Aztec dinosaurs who ride other dinosaurs. They're a little bit mental, in my opinion. They worship a lot of dead gods, and there's a few of them who remind me of the Red Priests from Game of Thrones. They're kind of fanatics. But let's see my enemy's army. So on the flanks, he has skink skirmishers. These are small little guys. We're in lore and more kind of to do with building and maintaining their empire than fighting, but they're small, they're quick, they'll be aiming to get round my flanks and onto my nice squishy targets. Now for the front line, here's a fat solid core of Saurus warriors. These guys are warriors, they're tough, and they deal quite a lot of damage. They should be able to destroy my slaves quickly. I need to take them out with some of my other range tools. Now in the back, here's some of the elite bodyguard of the Lizardmen. These guys are so cool. They have skulls for helmets, halberds they can wield in one hand. They're good at taking down pretty much any type of enemy. Cavalry, they have anti-large. They're good at taking down standard infantry and even elite infantry. And they're going to be protecting the big toad himself, Lord Mazda Mindy. Now he looks like something straight out of a Lovecraft story. He's a wizard who's riding this giant tasty dinosaur here. He has a huge amount of health and he can cast all sorts of nasty spells. Now my opponent probably knows, as I'm taking Skaven, that I'm going to be using a lot of these wacky squishy inventions. So he's placed some people in Vanguard so they can deploy out of their deployment zone. He's got Pterodon riders right here. So little skinks riding nasty Pterodons. Now I haven't spotted them at the moment, and they're going to be trying to get into my back line and pick off some of these squash targets. So good luck to my opponent, and we'll see how this played out. So initially you can see I've already done some damage with some of my firepower. I'm aiming at the skinks, which is actually a waste of ammo at the moment, but I'm going to be retargeting shortly. So for those who are new to the game, just think of it as an actual battle. If there's a big dragon nearby, people are probably going to run away. If you get charged in the flank or charged in the rear, it's going to hurt extra hard and people are more likely to panic. So as you can see, as Pterodon riders are coming in and trying to pick off my Icket Zapper. Now they carry little rocks underneath them, they've just dropped on my cannon right here, they've already destroyed them. I saw these guys a bit late, I'm trying to aim all my snipers at them now to take them offline. Fortunately they seem to have already done the damage, luckily for me 2 cannons have survived. See these guys have broken now, so they're going to start running off the battlefield. His main force is advancing at the moment, and unfortunately for me, I'm being just so distracted by this rear attack that I've done no damage to the front. And if they make me fully intact, they should be able to steamroll straight through. Hopefully we'll see a couple of these guys fall right now. Incoming cannon shot. Boom, double kill. It's always nice to see Lizardmen die. So at this point I start to realise my mistake. I'm trying to shoot these guys so they actually run off the battlefield rather than rally and come back. But I decided I really need to switch my targets. If I let Big Mazdamundi get in here on his big dinosaur, he's just going to throw these guys around. So I'm moving up now to engage my chaff just to hold off. My opponent has blobbed up, so one unit should be able to hold off three for a little while until they all crumble, of course. Ah, there you go. The Rattling Guns are so good. So I've now started launching all my sniper rifles and big cannon into the big guy himself. He's a large target, so he's super easy to hit, and you see him just absolutely melt away their health. Dropping a little spell there as well by my lord, just to mess up his tempo guard. He's trying to strafe back and forth with dodge bullets, but he's such a big target. He's normally an absolute tank, but he's been absolutely wrecked here. So my front line is breaking, but it's not too bad. I've got some reserves to bring in. There you go, see his lord break. As his lord breaks, his armies lose the big penalty from morale, and are much more likely to run. As we can see there, the sharpshooters, the 99 Bobos, right here, unleashing a couple of volleys, paying their dues, taking out my right. And my opponent is trying the right thing, he's trying to break into my flanks. But luckily a combination of Skaven slaves and Rattlers managed to fend off his small skirmishers that's happening on both sides. So far my guns have been firing with impunity, and you can see the damage they can do when they're just left to their own devices, destroying the Skink Priest, who's one of his casters, and last remaining leader of his army. As you see, my opponent has finally broken through into my gun line, but I'm going to be scurrying away, bringing up some of my reserves. So an important thing for new players, I learned this the hard way, especially when playing Skaven. A lot of your units will run away, but it's important to remember that they will rally before they run off. Now if you can catch them before they completely run off the battlefield, you can bring them back, and it's hugely important to do this. I mean, this unit barely took any damage, but managed to run away, and now by bringing them back, I have a full unit back in the action game. Let's try and figure out my lord. So my lord's there. He's taking quite a lot of damage. I had a bit of bad micro on my half. I got him stuck at some Temple Guard who are anti-large, perfect for killing him. So I've got him rolling away on his little Sun's Vanity bike, cackling as he goes. My plan now is just to roll him around the battlefield, and just cast spells and generally be a bit of mischief. There we go, you can see one of his spells there. I believe it's called the Brass Orb, it's a Vortex spell. It does mass damage to infantry. Super good because it gets cast instantly, so your opponent doesn't really have time to react. As you can see, my opponent has managed to crush down on some of my guns, but it's a little bit too little too late, as most of his big targets have already been destroyed. I still have most of my guns online. Finally, these pterodons are swooped in, finally got on the targets. They tried to get at the start. Fortunately then, they are quite battered, but most of my backup units have been forced to fight in the front, so I do have nothing to defend them right now. I've just crushed this left flank, as you can see them running away, no leaders. They're getting a little bit worried. Should be able to pull some of these units back in a second. I'm going to say Airclaw rampaging through. Such a sneaky one, just going in there, doing his damage, snickering and skittering away as this. And with this I've managed to clear up the back line, bring some of my front units back. All my guns are on fire again. I feel that could be it for my opponent. Yeah, as you can see, all his units are broken. There we go, close victory for me. So bravely fought by my opponent there. Let's get into the end stats of the game. So well fought yesterday, Tytha. He tried the right thing. He tried getting into the flanks to get on these squishy targets. At the moment, Skaven are quite popular. They've had a new DLC, which has brought in all these kind of wacky new cartoonish inventions, and they're great. They do a ton of damage at long range. They force your opponent to come close to you. So he tried getting in the back with some of his skinks and the pterodons, and that early strike actually caught me off guard. and managed to take out one of the cannons, reducing its strength by a third. But with the Rattlers on the babysitting duty, guarding those, managed to fend off the flanks and do enough damage to the front that his elite troops couldn't break through these little scheming rats right here. Now, the only thing I'd say about my opponent's army was I wouldn't bring Lord Mazdamundi here. He's a very powerful mage, awesome on top of his big dinosaur, it looks very cool. However, he's a massive target, really easy to shoot. With this many sniper rifles and cannons that the Skaven are likely to take at the moment, he's just going to get pinged. Now, he's very, very expensive. As you can see, he got 0 kills and didn't affect the battle at all, apart from a negative when he died to his own team. Now guys, I'm fairly new to the game. This is probably my first 15 matches, I would say. I have played Total War games before, but I only recently got a computer which could run Total War Warhammer 2. So would I recommend this army to someone else who's just joining the game? I would say if you've played Total War games before, if you've played a lot of campaign, then yes. Okay, there's a lot of things you have to consider. A lot of micro, as you have a ton of units that you have to move into different positions. Skaven run away a lot and you have to remember to bring them back. However, there's a lot of guns, it forces the enemy to come to you, there's a lot of really fun, unique, different units you can use, with a lot of cool different spells, and the Lord's fairly easy, it gets quite tough, he's quite forgiving. As you saw, I got him stuck in some Temple Guards, which is an unfavourable matchup for him, but managed to roll away, just cackling as he goes, dropping spells all over the place. If you're brand new to the game though, it's your first ever time playing, I probably would suggest we're going someone different. We'll look into some more armies in future videos, but Skaven can be fairly hard to use just because they like to run away and there's a lot to do. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. I'll put some links in the description for other YouTubers that I enjoy if you want to get more into the game. If you guys want me to do a tutorial video or just more of these videos, let me know. Some more will be dropping in the next couple of days. And I'm going to do a campaign in a couple of weeks' time. So let me know who you want to be. At the moment, my biggest choices are going to be the guy you've just seen. It's a Claw, the mad genius rat, as he tries to scheme his empire. Or, I believe it's called Tenorone. That name could be completely and horribly misspelt. Who's one of the Lizardmen. He reminds me of Beric Dondarrion from Game of Thrones. He worships a snake god devoutly, hates Skaven, really awesome, carries a big tablet around. But that's it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you again. Cheers, guys. Peace, peace.